today I am here and I'm giving you trips on, I'm not giving you trips, I'm giving you tips. I can't give you trips. Trips are expensive. I'm giving you tips on how to travel alone. Hacks, if you will. Traveling hacks. So as you guys know, I do a lot of touring, and I do a lot of touring on my own. So I have some things to share from my years of knowledge in traveling by myself. So the first thing we're going to talk about is flights. One thing that I make sure on my flight when I am booking my flight is that I pick a row that somebody is already sitting in. So if you like the window or the aisle, find a row that somebody is sitting on the opposite. I like the window, so I pick a row where somebody is sitting on the aisle because people are less likely to choose middle seats when they're alone than they are to choose two seats together if they're a two-person. So if you pick a row that nobody is in, the odds are somebody's going to sit next to you. So if it's not a full flight, you have a better chance that somebody won't pick the middle seat. You can also check when you check into your flight if there is somebody that has chosen the middle seat next to you, or if there is a row that you can move to where the middle seat isn't taken. Also be aware of peeing when you're on an airplane, especially by yourself, because you have to get through two people, especially if you're on the window like I am, to go to the bathroom. So be very aware to pee right before you get on the airplane, and I try not to drink too many liquids. It's different on international flights because people are up and about the whole time anyways, but if it's a flight that's 5 hours or less, I try to limit my fluid intake so that I'm not being the jerk that's making everybody get up every time I have to pee. So we don't take trains very often in the States, but in Europe everybody takes trains, whether they're long distance trains or subway trains or short distance trains or whatever. If you're taking a long distance train, especially by yourself, I would always suggest to upgrade to first class if the cost isn't that much different. Honestly, it's not usually that much different, even if it's like an extra 15 or 20 pounds for a cross-country train. It's worth it when you're traveling by yourself for a few reasons. One is that your luggage will be much closer to you. If you're traveling alone, it's a little bit harder to keep your eye on your luggage, and you never know if somebody wants to grab it or take something out of it. So you are in a smaller cabin, so your luggage is right there, and the luggage racks are on both sides of first class. Also, when you need to go to the bathroom and you're in first class, it generally tends to be less crowded and there's less people in there and people that are more used to traveling, so it's a little bit safer to leave your things when you go to the bathroom. And each first class cabin has its own bathroom. So the bathroom is just right there. You can get in and out and get back to your seat and back to your stuff quickly. It's harder to do that when you're in the standard class cabins, and sometimes the bathrooms are a few trains down. Also, the odds in first class that you will have a seat empty next to you is much better. I've actually been on first class trains where I had a whole floor section, so it was me, a seat next to me, a table, and then two seats facing me, that there was nobody in any of those seats, so I could like recline and put my legs up on the other chair and eat and put all my stuff out, and it was great. So if you want to travel in the lap of luxury when you're by yourself, upgrade to first class. Like I said, sometimes it's more expensive or too expensive, and sometimes it's affordable, so definitely check the price difference. Be aware when you are traveling alone on trains of your luggage. So when I travel in Europe by myself, I have a large suitcase, a small carry-on suitcase, a shoulder bag, and a purse, because I am out there for a month and I have my entire hair and makeup kit, my prints, my clothes, my own makeup. So that's like me minimally traveling. And when you're traveling on trains, it tends to get a little tricky. Airplanes are fine because you check your stuff and then call it a day. So if you're doing overground trains, most of the overground train stations have elevators or lifts, as you guys call them. So that's not as difficult. But if you're traveling on the Tube in London, I don't know if any of the other subways, I don't know if it's like this in New York, but I know for sure that the Tube, which is a subway system in London, a lot of their stations do not have elevators. So it's either going to be an escalator or just straight up stairs. And I know that there is one station, it's a spiral staircase that goes up like 4 stories, and I had to carry both of my suitcases and my bag. I got really lucky and had people that were helping me. But if you're in a time when there's not a lot of people around, or if you're during rush hour and people get really mad when you're taking a long time to get up the stairs, so just be aware of what station you're going to. When I was traveling with luggage to and from the airport, what I would do is find a way around the Tube, so I would take overground stations. It might take you a little bit out of your way, but it's way easier than trying to navigate with luggage. And people get mad, especially on the Tube when you're trying to sit in a crowded train with luggage. So overground are way better. Another thing to remember if you are on trains with luggage is to give yourself plenty of time to get on the train and also to get off of the train. So give yourself at least 10 or 15 minutes to get to the station early so that you can get onto the train. Sometimes trains come in and out really fast, especially if you're on a Tube, that is totally different. But overground trains, a lot of the time will come in and then they'll wait a little bit and then you can get on. So that gives you enough time to get all your luggage on, you're not in anybody's way, you're not stressed out. And it's the same thing when you're getting off of the train. So generally, when I feel like the train starts to slow down a little bit, I get up, I get my luggage, I get it all set, and I stand right in the doorway so that I can be sort of the first person off, and that gives me enough time to sort of hulk it off of there. And also, if people are waiting behind you, they generally help you with your luggage because they want you to get out of their way. So it's a way to trick people into helping you. I tend to be kind of a loner when I travel by myself. I do like to talk to people sometimes, but there are times when I don't want to talk to people. Either I'm just had a crazy day. With my job, I talk to people all day long, so when I'm traveling, I tend to just want to be quiet. A good trick to make people not talk to you or to keep people from talking to you is to have earbuds in. So even if you're not listening to music, just put your little earbuds in or headphones over your ears and people will think you can't hear them and they won't talk to you. Or bring a book or a magazine or whatever. Even if you're just daydreaming, it's just a way for you to trick people into looking busy so that they won't strike up a conversation. If you're just sitting there looking bored, people are more likely to strike up a conversation. But in that vein, don't be afraid to talk to people. It's so fun when you travel by yourself to just sit in a pub or a restaurant or on a train or in a station and just strike up a conversation with local people and ask them about their culture, what's great locally, where to go, where to eat, their politics, anything. It's a great way to learn about cultures, especially if you're in a different country. If you are taking Uber anywhere, which I do very frequently, try Overpool. So Overpool is a way, it's actually a ride share with other people. So it can be you and up to 2 other people that are other people you don't know, but they're going in the same direction as you. But it's a great way to save money because Overpool tends to be cheaper than normal Uber. And also it's a way to meet people as well, especially if you're traveling in another country or another city. You never know who's going to be in the Uber with you, so it's a good way to sort of chat with people. If you don't want to talk to people in your Overpool, put your earbuds in. So when you are staying in hotels, generally when I'm staying in a hotel, I like to get 2 beds instead of 1 bed because I like to use the second bed. I don't take up a lot of space. I don't need a king bed all to myself. But when I have 2 queen beds, I have 1 nice bed to sleep in all by myself. And then the other bed I use to put stuff on. So I know there's always that little collapsible thing that you can put your luggage on, but that's only 1. So if you have a lot of luggage, or like me, I like to spread out my jewelry and my clothes and all that, so it's nice to have a bed that's sort of waist high to put everything on so you're not just laying everything on the ground, and then it's easier to see what you're doing, especially if it's a white comforter. Then you see everything you have, you're not going to lose a little pair of earrings or whatever. So I like to get 2 beds for that reason. Also, when you're staying in a hotel alone, it's very important to always lock the top little latchy thing because 2 reasons. 1, for your own personal safety, just in case somebody decides to come into your room. Actually, what has happened sometimes, this has happened to me twice, where people get a key to your room on accident, like the front desk assigns them your room even though your room is already your room, and they just come walking in on you. So it's a good idea to do that just in case you're like naked in your room and some stranger wanders in. But sometimes housekeeping will do it too in the morning. They'll just knock and say housekeeping, and if it doesn't wake you up immediately, they just open your door. So having that little latch up there helps to keep people out of your room. And you can do it when you're staying alone because you don't have to worry about anybody else coming in the room. So when you are walking around alone, when you're traveling alone, stay off of your phone. You want to be aware of your surroundings, especially if you're traveling in a city or walking around a city. It's just not safe when you're on your phone. Having your face in your phone is the best way for thieves and murderers and rapists and any other kind of crime-inclined citizen to spot you and go, that person is not paying attention, I can do whatever I want to them right now. So definitely stay off your phone when you're walking. If you need to look something up, if you need to Yelp or you need directions or something like that, stop or go into a cafe and do that. And then when you're walking, just make sure that you stay aware. You make sure you pay attention to what's behind you and what's around, especially at nighttime. And also stay off of your phone because look at what's around you. When you're traveling, you want to look in every nook and cranny, and if you have your face in your phone, you might miss some little tiny hole-in-the-wall cafe you might not have seen, or a little blues bar, or some alleyway that has some historical thing in it. So it's just better anyways when you're traveling to stay off of your phone. If you are walking around by yourself, a good app to get is the Panic Guard app. I have it on my phone. Basically how it works is you open the app when you are walking around by yourself, you hold your phone in your hand, and if anything happens, if someone grabs you or someone's attacked you or whatever, all you do is shake your phone really hard, and it instantly sends your location and all of your information to the local police station. So you pre-enter like your eye color and your height and your weight, your address, your phone number, your emergency contact, all of that stuff. So it'll just send it immediately to the police. So it's a really, really good thing to have just in case. I am actually a fan of eating by myself. So I actually like when I travel alone and I get to go to a restaurant and eat alone. So I actually do one of 2 different things. If I'm going to want to eat alone, but sort of talk to people and talk to the bartender or talk to people around me or eavesdrop, I love eavesdropping. Oh my gosh, you can totally listen to people's conversations when you're alone and it doesn't look like you're rude because you're alone and you don't have anybody to talk to. It's great, but I'll do that at the bar usually. If I want to go to a restaurant and sit and read and be left alone and eat, then I'll ask for a table and I'll just get a table alone. A great thing to get is actually one of these tablets that has one of these little things or a Kindle, but this will allow you to set this on the table and then read, especially if you are eating like a sandwich or something that's messy. It's hard to hold a book and read while you're trying to eat, so these are your best friend when you're traveling alone. Sometimes when I travel, I do just sort of buy things to cook, and then I'll cook in my Airbnb, or I'll just make something in the microwave, and that's fine too if you want to just relax and watch TV or whatever. But it is actually really fun to go out, and there's so many good restaurants in so many cities, so I love to explore the food life, not the nightlife, the food life. One thing to remember if you are in Europe and the UK especially is that if you order food in a pub, generally they don't have table service. So what you do is you go up to the bar and you tell them what table you're at, you order, they'll put your table number in, and then you go sit down. So when you're traveling with other people, this is super easy. You walk in, get your stuff, and then you go one by one and hold a table. But when you are traveling alone, it's a little trickier, especially if you're in a crowded pub. So I have 2 bits of advice for this. Either 1, sit at the bar and then it's easy, you just order from the bartender, or 2, find a bar that isn't crowded and you know that there's 4 tables available and you can pick one and it won't be taken. I tried to do this ordering shenanigan at a super crowded bar, and I was like, I'll be at table 2, and then by the time I got there it was taken. Okay, just kidding, I'll be at table 5, and by the time I got there it was taken. And I got frustrated and I was hungry and I wanted to cry and it was terrible. So please avoid my pitfall. Another thing to remember when you're traveling alone is to not be afraid to take selfies. You're alone. The only way you can take pictures of yourself, unless you ask somebody to take it, which is fine too, but taking selfies is fun. And what I usually do is I'll be like, hey, check out this castle and me, and like take a silly selfie and make a stupid face. You don't have to be like, ooh, I look so sophisticated in every picture. But don't be self-conscious if people see you taking selfies. Who cares? It'll be your only chance to get a picture of you in this amazing place ever, and it's totally worth it. So get over your selfie fear. And along with that, don't be afraid to take pictures in general. Pictures are the best way to remember things, but also don't go overboard where you're not experiencing. I try to limit video because I feel like video takes away from the experience, but just a little snap here and there is super fun. And the reason I actually do that when I travel alone is because I do a travel journal. So every day at the end of the day, I take all the pictures I've taken and I email them to my loved ones, and then under each picture I give a description of what it was and where I was and what I was doing. So it's a great way not only for your family to feel like they're kind of with you and you to feel like you're with your family, but it's great looking on it years ahead of time when there's certain things you forgot and you have a journal that tells you what you were doing and what you were seeing and sort of the history, especially if you're like at a museum and there's history behind certain sculptures, or if you're at a church and there's history behind a mausoleum or something like that. Like, it's really cool to have that forever. And also because it's digital, it's an easy way to attach pictures with the stories instead of actually having a written journal. A written journal is great too, it's just not as easy to keep pictures in with it. My last bit of advice, which I actually touched on a little bit earlier, is just to make new friends. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Traveling alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely, and it doesn't mean you actually have to be alone. You can meet new people in new cities. Don't be afraid to take a chance. I have girls email me all the time that are like, hey, I live in this city you're coming to. Let me take you to lunch. Let me take you to this show. Let me take you to this tiki bar. And if it fits in my schedule, I generally say yes, because I don't like being by myself all the time. I do like being by myself sometimes, but sometimes it's fun to go out and explore new things and meet people and see things and see parts of the city that only a local would be able to show you, that won't be in any guidebook. So, and also don't be afraid to ask locals where the best place to eat is, the best place to shop, if you want, you know, to buy a new purse or handbag that's made from the finest Italian leather, like where to go where it's not going to be expensive. Don't be afraid to talk to people and ask them questions, because most of the time people are happy to tell you about the awesome things in their city. So I guess that's it. Don't be afraid of traveling alone. It's actually really, really fun, and I think that you just see things much differently when you travel alone. I know I do when I travel alone versus when I travel with Trevor. So it's a really unique experience. I definitely suggest everybody do it at least once to do a trip just by themselves. And it's a good way to sort of get in touch back with your own self and your own soul and your own spirit. So enough of that hippy dippy stuff. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that there was some good advice in here. And if you guys have any other advice to share with each other, leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video, and be sure to check out these latest videos that I have posted, and also be sure to click the subscribe button and turn your notifications on so you can see the new shenanigans coming your way.